Now, in this section, we'll need a calculator, a scientific calculator, to work these problems. Because this time, instead of taking the log of a base 2 of a number that is a power of 2, what if it's not a power of 2? And we're looking for the answer. So you would rewrite this as 2 to what power? Always put the base is equal to 9. Well, you cannot change 9 to a power of 2. So what we must do is use a different strategy to work this out. Now, what we will do here is to change, and basically using what Mr. Napier said, and that's the reason why I tried to introduce you to it the last time, not necessarily to use it to find the product of numbers like we do in common logarithms, is this. What we're going to do is to follow Mr. Napier's rule, where he changed every number to a power of 10. And so that would be rewritten as 10 to the power of 3, 0, 1, 0. That would be the change in 2 to a power of 10 equals, and we would also change 9 to a power of 10. Well, that would be 10 to the 0.9542. Now, since the bases are the same, then we would say the exponents are equal. And so you would have 0.3010x equals 0.9542. Now, to solve for x, you would divide this, and the answer would be whatever your calculators computes, 0.9542 divided by 0.3010. Now that answer then would be x equals 3.170. And I like for you to round off to 3 places. Now, here's what we need to consider. We do not need the tens per se. We just need the top numbers. And recall what I tried to tell you earlier. These are the logarithms. So this would be I'm going to show you a new approach to this. But instead of using the powers of 10 each time, we're going to incorporate Mr. Napier's logarithms like this. 2 to what power equals 9. Now, what we're going to do is to write the log of 2 to the power of x is equal to, if you put the log of 2 on one side, you got to put the log of 9 on the other side. Now, then what you have to remember when you're taking, now remember this now, each time we begin these problems now, you have to remember if you take the logarithm of a number raised to a power, you got to rewrite that as the power of the number times the log of the number. So, in this case here, we're taking the log of 2 to the power x. We have to rewrite x is the power of the log 2 equals log 9. Now to solve for x, we would divide by the log of 2. What you do to one side of the equal marks, you must divide the other side by the log of 2. Now, here's where the calculator is used. On your calculator, there is a button with the word log. So, look at your calculator, push the word log. Now, if it's like mine, it's going to open a parenthesis, and inside of that parenthesis, you would write 9. Now, close that parenthesis before you continue on with this problem. Now, on your calculator, push divided by the denominator, and the denominator is the log. Now, put the number that you have the log of in parentheses. Now, your calculator will probably open it. You must close it. Then you would equal, and the answer that you should see is 3.170 rounded to 3 places. That's mine. I like for you to have 3 places. Some people will say 2 places. I like 3 places. And so that would be the process of taking the log that where you cannot change the number to a same base. So let's try another problem. Say log base 9 of 137. Now we're looking for the answer. So remember, we rewrite this as the base to what power? That's the power we're looking for, or in case answer really is equal to 137. Now again, you cannot change 137 to a power of 9. So we're going to use the other strategy of using Mr. Napier's logarithms. So he said if you're looking for the x, you would write log of 9 equals, now what you put, if you put log in front of the 9 to the x power on the left hand side, you got to put the log of 1 in front of 137. But before we can move on, we have to remember again what Mr. Napier repeated to us. And he said if you're taking the log of a number raised to a power, you are to write the power times the log of the number. So you would write the power now is x, not a number but a letter. Log of 9 equals log 137. On your calculator, now divide both sides by the log of 9. And so that's where the calculator comes into play again. On your calculator, there's a button that says log. So push the word log. Now it should open up parentheses up for you, and so you put 137, but close that parentheses around that 137 before you divide by the log of 9. Now close that parentheses. Now push in your equals. And the answer should be x should equal 2.239. Now I forgot to tell you earlier, but I'm not going to mention it now. You are rounding these numbers off. So to tell people or inform everybody that this is a rounded off number, you would place a dot above the equal marks. Now, when you start doing the logs of the numbers, here you got another situation. And that is, what if you were in a problem and had to solve one like this? 13 raised to the x plus 3 power equals 297. No, 92. How would you solve for x? How would you determine what that letter is replacing? How would you accomplish that? Well, we'll use Mr. Napier's logs. Log of 13, x plus 3. Now, if you write log in front of 13, what you do to one side of the equal marks, you must write it on the other side. Now, let's remember, though, this is Mr. Napier's logarithms, and he said, if you're taking the logarithm of a number raised to some power, you write the power times the logarithm of the number. So, that is a power. X plus 3 is a power. So you would write x plus 3 log 13 equals log 292. Now, we're not going to distribute here because you only have just the one x. So what we're going to do is to eliminate everything except x. I mean, I want to get rid of that log of 13. So, divide by the log of 13. What you do to one side, you do to the other side. Now calculate this. So you would say log, now it opens up a parentheses, and inside of it put your number. But close that parentheses on that number before you move on. Log 13, if it opens it, you got to have that parentheses around those numbers. Now, you push on there, equals. Now here's one thing that's a little bit different. We're not going to round off that answer. So on the next line, we're going to rewrite. Now don't eliminate your answer, and don't eliminate or round that off on your calculator. You just leave that answer on your calculator, and over here just inform everybody that we know the answer, and the answer is on the calculator. There's a reason behind that. It's because now we're going to subtract 3. And so if you have on your calculator the previous answer already, then you can obviously subtract 3 from it, and then you'll get an answer. Now, here now we got x. Now you round it off to the answer. Now, my calculator said it was negative 0.787. Again, rounded off to 3 places. That is how you would use logarithms to solve a problem where the variable is an exponent. If you remember correctly, we did that earlier. Now let's try this problem. 21 to the power of 3x minus 2 equals 675. Now, you're given this, and we want to solve for x. Well, to do this, we're going to use Mr. Napier's logarithms. You would write the log of 21 raised to the power of 3x minus 2 and log of 675. Now remember what Mr. Napier said. If you're taking the logarithm of a number raised to a power, you are to say the power times the logarithm of the number. This is the power. So you would say 3x minus 2 log 21 equals log 675. Now, to solve for x, I don't want that. So we'll divide by the log of 21 on both sides. Now go to your calculator and put log. Now remember, it'll probably open up a parenthesis. If it doesn't open a parenthesis, you put a parenthesis and put 675 in parentheses and close it around 675. Divided by log. Now again, 21 in parentheses equals, now remember, we round off only one time. So on your calculator, just put equals log and leave it to the side. And over here where we are working the problem, rewrite 3x minus 2 and just put answer. Now the answer is on your calculator. Now don't ever clear that till we finish this problem. Now the next thing to get x by itself, we need to eliminate the 2. So just put on your calculator, simplified on your calculator, you just push plus 2. Don't clear it from that. You want that last answer on there. So that would be 3x is equal to answer. Now again, just remember that answer stays on the calculator because we're not finished here. We have to get 3 away from the x, so you divide by 3. Now, we round off our answer, and the answer is 1.380. I personally like to round off to 3 places. Some people like 2. Now remember, we rounded this off, so over here where you have the equal marks, put a dot. And young people, that is end of session 2. There are 3 sections, or 4 rather, but